Good evening. This is episode 5 of the SHB Unfiltered Podcast, live from Lockdown City. This is Quarantine FC, the only club currently active in the UK. Chris Jackson, AI Desanya, and Rahul Balani, and Ruben Pillai here. What's good, everyone?
We are live.
How are you,
There are
lad?
4 people watching us.
Good. Good. We saying, Rahul, you right?
Yeah, good, mate. Thanks, boys, for having me on the podcast today.
Cool. Thank you, Rahul.
Yeah, you couldn't have put it any better. Lockdown City, bit of a weird vibe to be in London right now. Weird times, but gotta stay positive, right?
Yeah, just to give you a quick profile about Rahul, he's from Australia.
Australia, mate. Loud and proud.
He's a long way from home, and he can't go anywhere as well.
What part of Australia?
I'm from Sydney, bro. Yeah, spent my whole life there. So just figured, why not spend a few years in London, see what's up on this side of the world.
So Rahul has actually been to I think 2 events now, right? Or just the one from last year?
I did, yeah. So I've been to, I think I just went to the one event where you talked at UCL.
Yeah. He's already part of the Stuttering community. But for people watching on the live stream and who hears afterwards, Rahul doesn't actually stutter. So he's an intruder. He's an out-of-towner. But he's a big supporter of the work we do, and I thought it would be good to get him on here for a bit of time, just to ask him a couple of questions. He can ask us a few questions, and we can kind of change the dynamic a bit.
Stop. You're on the wrong... You need to stream from the StopHoldingBack page, not the group.
I tried to search for it, but
It's there.
Yeah.
It's definitely there.
We're going to carry on, though.
You can't, because you can't share the link anywhere, so no one can see this because it's in a closed group. So you have to.
Do I have to still do it, or?
Yeah, you can do it.
You do it?
No, because you're the host.
So can you guys get off your phones and talk?
Yeah, I'm just
go
trying to find it.
Sorry?
Stop the live feed and start it again on the StopHoldingBack. You got to.
No, it's fine. I'm going to pause it, and then we'll carry on as soon as we get past these technical difficulties. Let's go. All right, this is take 2 of the SHB Unfiltered Podcast, episode 5, take 2, part 2. Got Christopher Jackson, Aya Adesanya, and our not so special guest today, Rahul Balani from Australia.
Wow.
All right, mate.
How are we, lad? How's everyone doing?
Yeah, good.
We're good.
All right, cool. We're going to get straight into it. Rahul, have you any questions for us as an outsider?
Well, first, I think, yeah. Well, firstly, it'd just be good to sort of see how everyone's going with lockdown. Obviously, quite an interesting time for all of us to be stuck inside our homes. So it'd be good to understand how everyone's tracking with that.
Oh man, I think it's changed so the days have gone past now. So at the start, it was just like, you're stuck at home, you can't speak to anyone. You pop outside for a walk, look around the shops, try some clothes on, and then bit by bit you realize, hang on a minute, based on kind of the way this stuff is spreading, we actually have to be really careful, and I came to a point today when I stepped out of the house with a face mask and gloves and jacket up to the chin, hood up, walking down the street, looking like a right mug. But this is what the world's done to me. Because we really do not know how this thing spread. I did not even know if I have it, because if someone like in the public, like Prince Charles, he has been tested positive for the virus, but he may have had it now for like a week and a bit. Idris Elba, who's like still kind of fine and healthy, but he tested positive as well. You just don't know, right? So strange time. Let's see what happens tomorrow, because every day, like, we're getting different types of advice and stuff, and no one knows what's going on. What are you boys saying?
Yeah, it's harder. I wasn't feeling well last week, so I've actually been isolated for over a week. I don't think it was a virus, but Ruben seems to be convinced that I had the virus.
Chris had man flu, which is like the that's the light version of the coronavirus.
No, but like Ruben was saying, like, nobody knows. There's people that, I think Ruben was telling me yesterday that in Iceland people have been tested, and 50% of people that came back as positive wasn't showing any symptoms. So
yeah, 50.
that's the mad thing. So yeah, it's quite a scary time. Also today on the news, I saw that a 21-year-old passed away from it. My cousin actually knows someone from his high school that was 2 years below him. So he was only 28 and he's passed away and had...
No way.
What?
Yeah.
What? Passed away?
Yeah, in Camden.
Yo, that's serious, man.
Have any conditions or not?
Well, my cousin Chris said no. I mean,
Oh my God.
nobody knows how it's affecting people. Nobody knows if they do have any pre-existing medical conditions. Sometimes they're not showing up until you have it. So it's a really crazy time right now, man.
The thing is, the problem is that what's happening in the press is they keep putting out these stories and they keep saying that, oh, like, but they were this, they were that, they had these pre-existing problems, and kind of talk about the age. So people aren't taking it seriously. And you step outside, you can still see like kind of groups of school kids just like chilling on bikes and congregating in 3 or more crowds, and the cops standing there just with their batons and shit, and then just just kind of asking them to go home. But then it isn't clear, as in, because they could just be saying, oh, we are out here getting our exercise. Oh, I'm doing the Sainsbury's. So it's so unclear and isn't helpful, because in the end, these are the people spreading it and bringing it home to the people who are actually self-isolating. What's happening in the city, Rahul? Because you kind of live Canada Waterway, right?
Yeah, so I live out in Canary Wharf, so a bit scary. I mean, it's one of the hubs in London, and normally before all this, so busy Monday to Friday. It's always been a ghost town on weekends, but it's just weird. I look outside every morning and I sit on my balcony, and you'd expect to see people walking around there, but it's an absolute ghost town. It's just, it's really weird, to be honest, more than anything. Obviously with all the news out, I mean, it's a nice thing to see that it's quiet, because that means people, at least around here, are listening to the advice. But yeah, it's just strange. Like the weather's really nice, and I think you boys can speak to it as well, in terms of when the sun comes out, Londoners go absolutely crazy. And it's just weird that people actually choose to sit inside. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's the excuse we have to actually have a barbecue, whereas in Australia, that's all you guys are doing.
Yeah, that's my full-time job back in Sydney.
Getting the shrimp out.
That's it. Get the shrimp out. Get a Foster's.
Mate,
head down to Bondi Beach.
A proper stereotypical Australian. But anyway, so Rahul, have you any questions for the three of us? And that
So I mean,
burning questions.
Yeah, well, I mean, it'd be, I mean, Ruben, obviously, so a bit of context, Ruben and I actually work together. So, so I've sort of known, you know, his history and his journey in terms of how he's thrived through stuttering. But it'd be good to understand, you know, the rest of you boys, I guess, in terms of, you know, your history with stuttering and how you've really taken on the challenge and really come out the other side and thrived.
Go on, boys. Show them how you thrived.
Do you want me to go first, Leo, or do you want to go?
Go on, Chris.
I'll go first. I had quite a hard time trying to deal with it growing up. I tried as many different types of therapy programs as I possibly could. I didn't get along with any of them, really. And it wasn't until I was 20, I would say when I was 24, I graduated from uni and I was pretty much unable to find a job for maybe 4 years after uni. And it wasn't that I was unable to find a job, it was I wasn't prepared to put myself forward for any jobs because I just couldn't take the thought of having to deal with an interview process. I registered for as many agencies as I could and I tried to apply to as many jobs as I could, but even if the call came, I wasn't prepared to answer the phone anyway. So I don't even know if I was successful for any of those jobs at all. It got to the point that in order for me to make a living, I had to start my own job. I had to start my own company. So I have a recruitment company with my sister. It's a recruitment company and we work in luxury retail. So at the moment we're very quiet because all retail's closed. But I had to create that job for myself. And it was only once I started that job, I realized that if I didn't sort out my speech, I would be a detriment to the company. And that was my motivation for wanting to improve my speech, because I was making my sister's life a lot harder than it needed to be by needing her to do all the talking for her and then for me as well. So in 2018, I got back in contact with a program and then I started to work on my speech outside of that program. That's how I met Ayo and Ruben. And through them pushing me and making me push comfort zones constantly and working out what my long-term motivation was, that's what really helped me to make progress with my speech, to the point where now I stutter every day, but I won't allow it to hold me back from doing or having any conversation, really.
Here.
Amazing.
Yeah, that was a really, really good overview, actually, of Chris's journey. And I just want to add, Chris is kind of pretty much the same person as he's been since the start, but this has allowed him to kind of grow and actually take on things that he has always intended to do. And then as a result of that, he has kind of just become like a more evolved person and fulfilling his potential. And it brings a tear to my eyes every time I hear that story. I've heard it so many times, and it's like a fine wine. It gets better and better every time you hear it.
Yeah, it's funny.
No, it's true, man. It's true. It's true. Hey,
what about you, Ayo?
Go on, man.
I'll keep my short. So I hate stuttering, just to let you know.
We hate you too.
What I've learned from having the stutter is that I cannot allow it to hold me back, like Chris said, regardless, because it's going to affect my mental health, my self-esteem and confidence. So I've been on a journey where from the age of 5, I've always had a really, really bad stutter. And the point of where I actually found out and knew how bad it was when I was 13. In the English class, I was supposed to read out a poem, and my first attempt failed. I couldn't read out the poem, so I had to go out the class, and I got help from a special needs teacher, I think she was, and we went through this poem for about 20 minutes, and I said the poem. I think I was fluent most of the time because it was just me and her, and I felt safe. So this poem it got easy. Then she told me to go back into the classroom. I looked down at the page, looked up, nothing. And then I knew I was screwed in my mind at that time, at 13 years old. And from then, it went downhill. Went to university, I could not function, I could not survive. I went to Loughborough, I did banking, so I could not get a job. It was just hell, until December 2016, I was going to kill myself. And I decided I was definitely, I'm going. I had enough of this. But for some reason, I decided not to, which is great. I'm still here. And I made a decision. To be like, you know what? I need to take responsibility and I need to help myself because no one is coming to help me. I'm 26 at that time. So I had to do something different. I had a rubbish job. I worked quite a few jobs. I was working on construction sites, doing cleaning jobs. I was doing stuff I did not want to do, security. So I just made a decision. I went on a course that completely changed my life. I learned some techniques. I got some confidence. I left that program. Then I went on to help other people. And now me, Chris and Ruben founded this charity called StopHoldingBack, where we are trying to do something that's different and something that's effective. So that's why we're all here together on this great podcast.
Hey, you forgot the bit where the two of us met and I changed your life.
Yeah. That as well.
What a snake.
Mate,
Yeah.
whose life don't you change?
Sorry?
Whose life don't you change?
NA, mate.
Man.
NA.
Yeah.
Math error.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's really inspirational, guys.
So
Rahul, I've got a question for you.
Oh, go on.
Sure, shoot.
Shoot him.
Okay, so is mixing with Ruben, is that your first experience of mixing or your first experience with someone that's got a stutter or from Australia, or did you know anyone before Ruben that had a stutter?
No, so meeting Ruben was Ruben was the first person I ever met who I knew had a stutter. So yeah, in terms of the initial interaction, obviously being someone who didn't know. I mean, you can tell when someone has a stutter, and I know from the sessions that I've gone to where Ruben has given a talk that there are different types of stutters. But I knew at the first few meetings with Ruben that he did have a stutter, but to be completely frank, I wasn't educated on the different types of stutters, or even sort of how people who have a stutter would like to be treated when it comes to a conversation. There were times initially, and I'm not sure if Ruben would remember this, but now that I look back on it, where I would finish Ruben's sentences for him. And I now know that, it's actually better to give Ruben that extra time and sit there, show patience and really let him finish those sentences for himself.
He's rude Australian.
But yeah, I mean, hey, what was that?
No, I carry on, mate. Don't worry.
I mean, we finish each other's time, but that's not just because he knows me so well. So, but yeah, no, I mean, yeah. After going to the session that Ruben gave a talk at UCL last year, I think that was really enlightening, and in terms of me being able to get the information that I needed in terms of, around other people who have a stutter and what they go through. And the topic of that session was thriving with a stutter. So really, getting an understanding of other people's journeys and how they've overcome that, and really, done really amazing things in their lives. So, Ayo specifically, I mean, to hear your story, man, that was truly inspirational. And even you, Chris, like, I'm sure you boys are now doing amazing things. So, the only one thing I wanted to ask was, I mean, through my friendship with Ruben, I know that you've got this foundation, but for someone who, would like to help out, how can they get involved and how can they support you lads?
That's a good question. Chris?
Chris is the expert.
Why is everyone looking to me when it comes to the charity?
Chris?
You're the expert, man.
Jokes aside, there will be a time when I will ask you for help, and when the time comes, check your phone.
All right, done.
But until then, just be ready. No,
Of course, mate.
Yeah.
Because with charity, we're kind of still in formative stages, right? So we are kind of speaking to grant providers, assessing our options and abilities for the next year. Obviously, with this coronavirus stuff, it's presented some obstacles, but at the same time, it's made us think, well, this is our chance to actually try different things now and see how we can engage with people with tech. So this is actually one of the reasons why we started the daily podcast, because who else is doing this in the stuttering world? I can't think of anyone. Every day going live on Facebook, going live, uploading videos. These are ad hoc conversations. These aren't contrived. I have no scripts here, and these guys as well. So this all part of it and part of the engagement. There will be a time when we will need help from our foot soldiers, the corner boys. So we'll come to you.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to helping out. I mean,
Cool.
I think, again, having heard both Chris and Ayo's stories, and also, knowing Ruben for as long as I have, since I've moved to London, just some of the things that Ruben also gets involved with at work, and to see what a big advocate he is for, for stuttering, and also for the foundation. I mean, it's truly inspirational, and definitely looking forward to helping you lads out where I can.
Cool. Cheers, Rahul. Just, so I was going to ask you now, have you got any general questions about, maybe not about us personally, but about stuttering in general that could help other people who are tuning into the feed? So any general questions from an outsider looking in?
I mean, so like I mentioned earlier, so Ruben was the first person who I met who did stutter, and now I have the knowledge, what the do's and don'ts around, when you encounter someone who might have a stutter, how should you interact with them when you're having a conversation with them? What are some of the social cues that you should be aware of? So I guess for any of the other listeners who don't have a stutter but know someone who does, how should they go about those conversations, and what are some of the social cues that you'd like that person to have from your experience, I guess?
I think that it can depend on the individual, which makes it quite hard for you as the non-stutterer to know what to do. I think that there's people that, like, for example, the incident that you said that you were finishing Ruben's sentences for him, and then you quickly realise that that's not really the right thing to do when someone's got stutter, and especially if they're trying to work on their speech.
Yeah.
However, there could be some people that have stutters that are not a part of a therapy program at all, and they might look for you to help them out to finish their sentences. So that makes it hard for you as the listener to really know what to do. But what I would look for is the cue. So can you notice they're using a breathing pattern of some sort? If they are, that means that they're trying to implement something. So just having patience just to allow them to finish the sentence. I remember when I first started to work on my speech, and I used to go out with Veo into the public, and the first time we went out, I turned to him and I said, listen, if you can see me getting in a bit of trouble, you're going to step in, right? And you're going to help me finish my sentence. Hell no, no way, I'm going to leave. And there were times where I was struggling and I couldn't get the word out, and I would look to him for help, and he'd just be like, nope, carry on, keep going, this is how you're going to learn. But that's how the person with the stutter desensitizes. They have to get through that pain barrier, and when they come out the other side, then that's when they can start to go clear with working on their speech again. So yeah, just the main thing for anyone is just to not finish their sentence, especially if you can see that they're trying to work on something. So they're breathing, then they'll stop, they'll go again, they'll stop, they'll go again. Just, yeah. But also, yeah, sorry, go on. No,
go on.
I was just going to say also, ask the individual. I feel like people that haven't got stutters are not sure whether to ask them or not. So just ask the individual about their experience, about their stutter, and then that allows them to open up about it, and it makes them feel a lot more comfortable, and it brings their tension all the way down to the point where they're now relaxed to talk about it.
Hey, Adesanya, you better say something.
I was going to say, you should listen to them. Just listen to them and don't interrupt them. Wait for them to tell you or to show you that they need help, or I'm not sure, but for what I've seen is if you just wait for them to tell you what to do, it's better to do that. Just listen to them. If they're stuttering all over the place, just make eye contact with them and listen to them and allow them to show you what to do. That's the best advice I could give a person who does not stutter.
Something else as well that is pretty important, because I've actually found myself in conversations in the past where I'm struggling to like say the names of places. So if I'm passing by people just on the street or in town, and they're asking me how's everything going, and then asking me like what plans are, and then I'm trying to say I'm going to go left, but I can't say L, so then I say right, then I find myself going the wrong way, jumping on the wrong tube lines. I start buying food I don't even want because I can't say those words. So that's a big part of it, because if you can see that kind of people aren't giving the time just from body language, because they aren't going to say anything, but you start becoming oversensitive to everything around you, like really oversensitive. Like even if you see like a slight change in someone's facial expression, you may assume it's some kind of smirk or just trying to see them contain laughter, maybe, as in that really makes things worse. So just keeping it kind of calm and even just saying, take your time.
Yeah.
That's enough.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. But at the same time, you have to be careful, because some people start, if you're like, oh, calm down or take your time, it depends on your tone of voice as well. You got to be careful how you say words, because a person who stutters might get offended.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh, just calm down, oh, just relax, oh, just take your time. Yeah. Nah, man, you gotta be careful as well at the same time.
Yeah.
Take your time, mate.
Slow down, stop stuttering, slow down.
This guy from the country, from Australia, and tell me to take my time. I'll take my own time without him telling me to take my time.
I think that's really helpful. I mean, what Chris said as well about, it's okay that if you sense that someone has a stutter, to ask them like whether they have a stutter. And you're right. Like, I mean, Ruben's the only person I know. I mean, obviously now I know Ao and Chris, but in the future, I think, rather than play that guessing game and try and figure it out or see what the best option is to have that initial conversation, at least have it out there in the open so that I'm a lot more informed. Okay, so if they've told me that they have a stutter, so I know that this is how I need to act, this is how I need to behave in a conversation. And I think as someone who doesn't stutter, also be wary of things like, in a work environment where conversations tend to occur quite quickly and people are called to action quite quickly, that, you have to give someone more time to get their point across, and that's completely okay. So I think, like how Ruben said, saying, telling someone in a nice way that, take your time. It's okay to sort of take that extra few seconds just to get the point across, and that's totally cool. So yeah. Thanks for that, boys.
Just a quick one before we go to the feeds, Ao, for the question. I just want to make one point just to end that one that I just thought of now that I'm pretty proud of, by the way. All right, get ready for it. If you got a notepad and pen, I'll write this down. This is gold. Stuttering is just like the coronavirus. You think you haven't met someone who has it, but you have. You just don't know it.
Probably.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah. That's it, man. Quote me. Hey, let's go to the questions in the live chat, the live stream. Who's gassing us up?
Will Tour, it says here.
Would any of you class yourselves as extroverts?
Extroverts.
Yeah.
The one by one?
I think slightly, yeah. 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 I've actually done some, this sounds weird, but the personality courses or personality tests where they kind of do these assessments, and they take a look at the way you're interacting with the other people in the group, and they put you into kind of different categories. And yeah, it's safe to say I'm an extrovert.
Chris?
I don't know if I would class myself as an extrovert. Yeah, okay, since working on my speech, I have changed, but I just feel like I've changed into the person that I really wanted to be the whole time. I don't know if that would be an extrovert. I can't really say. I would say that in some situations I'm more extroverted, other situations that I'm more unsure of, maybe not so, but I don't think that's speech related anymore. I just think even though we've got stutters, we have the right to be a little bit more unsure in other situations than others.
I think have a think about kind of the way you feel around people, and quite a few people. So when you spend a few hours with quite a few people, do you at the end feel completely like mentally, physically drained, and you just need to like reset for like a day or two? Or like if you're around people, do you feel the buzz and vibe off them, and kind of like enjoy the company? Because that's essentially like kind of the basic split between the two. With extroverts, they feel comfortable when they are like around people and take the energy from the environment. But for introverts, they struggle a bit more if they are exposed to that for too long, and they feel drained after a while?
No, I would definitely say I'm more towards the extrovert end then.
Just to add as well, we typically have a combination of both, but we would be skewed to one side or the other. So there is like a stigma in saying that you're kind of an introvert because people just associate that to being like a loner or something. But is it in
being shy?
Yeah.
It's not true.
Yeah, like there are people who are very social extrovert, but then after like a day of socializing, and if you speak to them, they may see jokes and buzz, etc., but they literally have to spend a day or two just by themselves just to recover from that one day spending around that many people. Rahul, if you have any experience on being a loner, you can share it.
I mean, you lads raised some really good points. I think in terms of whether you're an extrovert or introvert, it's hard to say because it really depends around, the company you're around at that time. I can say confidently that when it comes to hanging out with like my school friends or just other close friends, I'm definitely an extrovert. I'm generally the loudest in the room. Definitely a character, so I think in terms of the qualities of an extrovert, for sure. But then if someone were to compare that version of me to me walking into a room where I don't know anyone or it's a big group of people, I tend to go into my shell, and it really takes a bit of time for me to warm up. I think living alone in London, having moved halfway around the world, that's been a challenge in itself. But I think it's really brought me out because I've told myself, and I've realized that if I don't take myself out of my comfort zone and really step out of that shell, then it's very easy to just get lonely and feel homesick. So the 10 months that I've spent in London so far, I've really made an effort and made a conscious effort to go and talk to people, whether it's at work, going and introducing myself to someone, or even out, you're at a bar or you're at a club or whatever it is, just going up and having a chat. Because I think one thing that we can all probably agree on is if you ask someone about themselves, 9 out of 10 people will love to talk about themselves. So it's very easy to just get involved, and that's really helped my confidence and becoming more of an extrovert.
Thank you, Rahul. Just gonna quote a comment from the Facebook feed. So we have Angelica saying that she feels drained when she's been around people that she does not vibe with, whereas when she's around those who get her, she bounces off and feels invigorated. I guess that makes her an ambivert. Interesting. So is an ambivert then that thing I just described, or like you kind of feel like the people around you? So if you are like around people who are kind of on like a wavelength that's maybe a bit lower and the vibration is less, then they pull you down to their level, and vice versa. But I believe you are energy, so you should bring them to your level if you believe in yourself. That's why I am the omnivert.
Omnivert.
I'm just chatting that right now. I just made that up right now. Rahul, I got a question that might be useful for some of our single people here. So
Sure.
So
thanks for plugging me there. I'm definitely very single in London.
he, oh, yeah.
I'll hook you up, bro.
Yeah. For those of you out there who are single, female, Rahul's single as well. He's Donfoot 2. Or is it 3?
Well, 6'3", mate. Come on.
He's a Donfoot 3. He's got facial hair. He's got a sweet penthouse. And yeah, that's about
it, really.
Yeah. Yeah. But jokes aside, I have had experiences of dating back in the past when I was single, obviously, and it's pretty scary, right? Well, and especially if you experience stuttering as well, there's a bit more of the layer there, because it's okay, like kind of at the start, but you kind of feel like the deeper you go, then the more it gets kind of the closer you get to that person, then the closer you get to like meeting friends and family and stuff, and then that just adds fear upon fear and judgment, etc. For you who does not experience stuttering, is that any different?
It's a tough one, because I think anyone who doesn't feel anxious about, going on a first date or wanting to impress someone, I mean, they're either, extremely good looking or just an extrovert and really confident about themselves, which is a great quality to have. I mean, me personally, when it comes to meeting someone for the first time, or when, like you mentioned, you really like someone and there's more layers that develop into that relationship, such as meeting, their family or close friends. There's always that anxiety there. And I think that's completely normal, irrespective of whether you stutter or you don't. Because at the end of the day, we're all human. And we all have that innate nature that we really like someone, we want to impress them, and we want to impress the people they really, really care about in their lives. So from my experience, I mean, I don't think there's a big difference, but I mean, I'm sure Chris, Ayo, and yourself, Ruben, like, I guess in your personal lives, and just want to shout out Ruben, who recently got married as well, but congratulations, mate. But I guess Chris, Ayo, like, I guess, in your experience with dating, how have you found the fact that you stutter? Has that played a part at all?
Well, for me, it played a massive part. It ruined everything for me for many years. It absolutely ruined everything for me. So, but that was part of the reason why I've become the person that I am today. And now I've got a girlfriend, a really, really beautiful, fantastic, the best thing that's ever happened to me in my whole life. Yeah. So, and that's because I have a stutter, I guess. So yeah, but in terms of stuttering, it just holds you back even more. It holds you back even more because yes, you want to speak to women, but on the first level, you're already thinking about, oh, I don't want to be judged because of the way I look or how I present myself. And then you got a second layer to that, is I have a stutter as well. So for you, it's just how you look or whatever. But for us, it's stuttering plus how we look, plus how we sound, plus all the normal stuff. So it definitely played a massive part for me. I struggled for 12, 15 years, from 14 to about 23. That was the hardest part for me in terms of trying to find girls. It's very hard for me. But eventually, around university, I just had to like accept it and just try. Just try anyway, because I was losing anyway. So, yeah.
But man's got sweet dance moves, so it's
dancing helped. Yeah.
It's still good practice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, I designed the 8K heavy cruise.
You know, it's funny because a lot of people at that time would think I'll be all right with girls, but I wasn't, man. I was struggling because I couldn't say my name. I couldn't say a word, man.
No, but you have to say
yo, listen, yeah. I would get these girls the phone numbers through friends.
Yeah.
I would never call them because I'd be like, I would like press the number.
BBM life.
Girl, and the girl, the woman would pick up. I would hang up. That was my life for like 5-6 years. So yeah, man, I had to make a decision. I had to save myself. So learning these techniques have helped me a lot.
Go on,
good
CJ.
to hear, man. Good to hear.
To be honest, Ayo, I'm surprised that you even attempted to call them. I wouldn't even got the phone to try and call them. I would have just texted them, and if they didn't text back, that was the end of that one. That's that done. But no, I wouldn't say I struggled engaging in conversation with girls, but I never really wanted it to go to that next level because I was too scared of what that next level brought and what challenges I would have to face if it got to that next level.
Exactly, Chris. Same with me, man. Same with me.
Yeah.
It was easier being on the sidelines, being that. Yeah. There's been that sub.
Yeah.
Pulling up cramp after an hour, just take me off.
Yeah, man. Do you know what is the worst thing? When I was 16, 17, 18, and you'd be out with all your mates, and there's a group of you, and there's a group of girls, and everyone's talking to girls, and you're just there, like, just not talking to no one, and everyone's having a great time, and you're just like, can't do it. Someone's parents, or I have to be introduced to their cousin, or something else is about to happen, or they want me to take them out and they want me to order their food for them, and I'm not going to be able to order what they want. How do you get out of that? How do you avoid that in that moment? There's no way to get out of it. But
like Chris is talking right now, and I'm feeling so traumatized because I'm getting all these memories coming back. Sure. I was screwed, man. I used to hate it. And the thing is, when I met Charlie and I realized Charlie was the one, I realized that I have to get over it because I didn't want to lose out. So I had to get over it, but I was 22 or 23 when I met Charlie, so I was a bit older, and it was just a real stressful situation every time I was about to take her out, because you might want to take her to the cinema, the film she wants to see, 2 tickets to, are you going to be able to say that name of that film? You can't change that. There's no substitute for that, you know. Yeah. But I used to talk to people, and they used to be like, "Oh, I'm taking this girl out. I'm nervous," and I used to look at them and think, "What could you possibly be nervous about? You're going to be able to say." Yeah, I used to think 1 minute. I used to think to myself, 1 minute. You know that you're going to be able to say any word that you want at any time. So what could you possibly be nervous about? I didn't accept that they might have other anxieties, other issues, you might be nervous. Like, meeting the parents for me, for anyone else, I think like that's a breeze. That's a walk in the park. What are you worried about? Anything they ask you, just answer it. And then it's fine, because you're going to be able to get the word out. If they ask you what your sister's name is, and you can't get your sister's name out, then you just like, what are you gonna do? Yeah. So yeah, as I got
as the relationship evolved with Charlie, you know, I just had to deal with it, and I was lucky that for the first 6 months, she hardly realised that I had a stutter. I just went through a period of really great speech whenever I was with her.
For 6 months.
And then,
Amazing.
I just went through a period of
yeah, that's crazy.
amazing speech. And it was actually her mum who knew my auntie who told her that I had a stutter. And then Charlie questioned me, like, do you have a stutter? And I was like, yeah, I do. And then once she found out, I then had the freedom to stutter. All of a sudden, I had permission to myself to stutter, and my stutter just got so much worse. And then, and then after that, I would find myself in a restaurant, and I would be sitting back waiting for Charlie, and I would become that mug that would be like, yeah, can you order me cheeseburger and chips, and I'll have a Diet Coke, yeah. And then Charlie would start ordering my food for me. And then once that started, my stutter got terrible because you're avoiding everything.
Yeah. Dude, that's quite funny because with me and Aranda, so we were actually, we saw each other once at a party and stuff, and then it was actually our friends who, like our friends, because they were friends with each other and stuff, and they were the ones who actually like encouraged us to speak to each other afterwards, right? And she got told, you know, it's all like kind of like misinformation, but she got told that I had a list. So she prepared us of, all right, so he's got a list, so and then when we started talking, she's like, hang on a minute, this girl doesn't have a list. and then like eventually I think I told her within like the first week or two, because I was pretty fine with her. I was like that I stutter, but and she said, like it's fine and everything, because she had already kind of prepared herself for some kind of a speech impediment of sorts. But yeah, like it's kind of like a freedom, I guess, because like, you know already that like you've kind of passed that barrier at the start where the person, they aren't freaked out by it, because like you sound a bit different, and it's quite reassuring, and it's like a warm feeling. You get butterflies in your stomach. you can sleep with like a big smile on your face. But anyway, yeah, sorry, I'm getting distracted. but yeah, like it's complicated, Rahul. Yeah, it's complicated, mate.
Very complicated.
Yeah.
Oh, life's complicated, mate.
But do you feel the pain and the struggle we've been through, Rahul? You feel it?
Of course I feel it, man. I mean, I didn't really think that there was so many.
No, I'm only joking, man. I'm only joking.
It's all right. Wow, this is what you got to go through.
I want a violin, mate. Where's my violin?
I've got a cello for you, in the back. Don't worry. Any violin, man.
Yeah, you boys all got ladies in your life, man. Play the violin for me.
Yeah. Don't worry, Rahul, man. Your time will come, bro. Just
I know, for sure.
Yeah, like the best part of our friendship is that as I'm like kind of the best person or the best story to use as the icebreaker conversation. So when he speaks to the girl and he goes, oh, like, have you had like a good day, or like have you done anything interesting in the week? This guy is like, oh yeah, we went to this event. One of my friends who gave me a talk their university and stuff. Oh yeah, cause at like a BJJ tournament, and I was there in the corner with my boy, and that's all I'm to, you know? I'm joking.
I don't want to tell everyone the other story. Let's keep that between us.
Yeah, I think that's for the late show.
That's what.
Yeah. But we're not for today.
Enough for today.
Anyway, lads, I'm getting a bit hungry. Shall we do one final question around the table, or does anyone else have anything to ask Rahul? Or you guys out of ideas today? Come. Let's go.
Let's do one more question.
Go on.
More question, and that's it.
CJ, let's put Rahul on the spot. Come on.
Okay, non-stuttering related. I just want to ask Rahul, are you here in the UK specifically for work? I understand that it's an Australian bank you work for, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Were you working for that bank in Australia and then you transferred here?
Australia.
Or were you here
Yeah.
for the job when you were here?
So
dude, he's just here for dating, dude. Dude, he's just here for dating.
Yeah, he's here to try and use the accent to get girls.
He's finished with the Australian scene, isn't it? This is like he's done. He's in the Premier League now. UK. UK, man.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Sydney, and I had a couple of motivators to move out of Sydney. I mean, first, compared to London, Sydney's a much smaller city. So after spending 25 years of my life there, I was just thinking, you know, things were getting a bit stale. Wanted a bit of a change. I think, like most Aussies who come to the UK, travel's a big motivator. So the fact that, you know, you guys have Europe on your doorstep, that was a big thing for me. So I did quite a bit of traveling last year. But yeah, I mean, the move was predominantly work related. And it's a one-way move. So sort of at this point in time, it's quite open-ended in terms of, do I go back? Do I stay in London, or do I go somewhere else? I'm sort of floating around at this point in time. Yeah.
Okay, but you were working for the bank in Australia, or you got that job when you were here?
Yeah, so I was working for the same bank in Sydney, and then I moved with them. Yeah.
Okay, and last question, what do you do at the bank? What area of the bank do you work in?
Yeah, so similarly to Ruben, I'm in risk management. We don't sit too far from each other, unfortunately, and
not far enough.
And in terms of what our teams are quite different. So my team does a lot of like high level projects on and works with senior management to see whether their controls and their risks are being addressed appropriately. So we normally like sit with senior management, we see what their problems are, what keeps them up at night, and then we go in and see how we can fix that. So that's a high level sort of overview of what the team does.
Cool.
Anything else, lads, before we call it an evening? This just one check, by the way. Is it Tuesday or Wednesday?
I think it's
Wednesday.
Mate. Dude, I don't know what day it is nowadays. The other day.
Every day's Friday.
It's Saturday, man. It's Saturday.
Bro. No, as in the other day, like I was just on PC at work, and I got a ping from a colleague in Hong Kong saying Happy Friday. I'm like, what? I didn't even realize it was Friday. Caught me by surprise.
Oh, well, mate.
Yeah. It just feels like one really long Monday and then the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird right now. So weird. Just want to go around the room very quickly. Lockdown. What's everyone's plan tomorrow? How are you going to spend your daily quota of one trip outside your door tomorrow?
Walking the dog tomorrow.
Mate, I've been watching your dead videos with that dog every day. And
what do you mean?
Eh? I think I was one today. I thought, wait, is this a repost of the one from Monday?
All right, tomorrow.
I need change the angles a bit.
Change it up a little bit.
Yeah, as in think outside the box a bit, man. Come on.
I'm just showing people what I'm up to, man.
Just to make it a bit more interesting, like if you got your phone tripod thing or something, just
Gimbal out.
No. With your phone and your tripod, like set it up in the distance and then walk your dog towards your phone and post that.
Tomorrow.
Then
Oh,
just make it a bit
come on,
different.
Ruben.
Come on, like think outside the box, man. Come on.
All right, tomorrow I'll have the tripod set up for you. Don't worry, Ruben.
Hey, Adesanya, what's your plan tomorrow?
I'm just gonna stand outside my house for about 5 minutes. Enjoy
I saw
the
your
sun,
story.
and go back in.
Yeah. He did not venture far.
Yeah, that's what I do.
This guy is literally heeding the message from Boris Johnson, our grand overlord.
I don't go out. Seriously, I don't. I don't go out. Nothing.
Wow.
I'm a good citizen. I'm a good citizen.
Raza?
I mean, unlike AO, I'm probably not the ideal citizen. I've been trying to go for a good 5 or 6 kilometer walk around Canary Wharf. Just with
It must
the
be
sun
dead
being
right
out.
now. Must be dead right
Hey?
now, man. Around there,
Me?
or as in no, like
Oh, yeah.
in the area. I mean, it must be dead quiet.
Yeah. It's totally empty. It's totally empty. Like, just to walk around. You know, there's a meme going around which is a scene from I Am Legend. It literally feels like that. I'm thinking at some point zombies are gonna come out and get me because it's so empty. You look around, full like really high, skyscrapers, but completely empty. No one walking around. So it's all right. No one has to see me run then and struggle.
That sounds good.
So
Right?
yeah, that's my plan tomorrow. Otherwise, just FaceTiming a few people in Sydney.
Sounds good. And for me, I will spend my daily quota of stepping out with my face mask, with my rubber gloves, with my jacket up my chin, hood up, walking around, looking like a plonker, but trying not to. And you know what? I've got a feeling like it's in here somewhere, but if I do have it, trying to not spread it, and if I don't have it, try not to catch it. Because that's not good. One good thing I did today was actually sign up to be an NHS volunteer. So,
Hold on.
yeah, so if you do happen to call the
Did you sign up
helpline,
for?
I just ticked all 3. So if you do happen to call the hotline at any point for some reason, I apologize if you have to speak to me. But yeah, I just thought it would be good to do. I've got a friend who's on the list of 1.5 million vulnerable people who's been told to stay at home for 12 weeks. So,
oh wow.
Yeah. So I thought, so he's gonna have people like bringing him like things to his house and stuff. So I thought, like it'll be a good chance for like kind of me to do something other than sit around my table every evening and speak to a bunch of people and chat their shit.
Yeah, I signed up yesterday, but I only signed up to two of the things.
Good. Yeah. Very good. Some of my friends just they did the same, but they only signed up to the phone line bit because they still live with people over 60s, like parents, and one has like a little baby.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, and that's it. Any final words before we call it an evening?
Nothing from me, boys, except
let's get a selfie with Ayo. Sorry, Rahul?
I was just going to say, yeah, thanks for having me on, lads. And love the work you guys do. Keep it all up. And to all the listeners and to you three, stay safe. It's a pretty weird time, but we'll get through it.
Cool. Thanks, Rahul. Really appreciate your time coming on. Spending time with us. So, Chris, Ayo, any last words? Chris first, then we go with the ending with Ayo. Go on, Chris.
Let's just go straight to Ayo. Let's go.
Wait. We need to get a selfie first, Ruben.
How? What do you mean?
If you turn around with your camera and take a picture, it's cooler. It looks cool that way.
No, it's cool. It's good. You know what? Like instead, I will do this, right? So you just stick it on the thing like this. There you go. Look. Everyone's smart. Say cheese.
Cheese.
All right, we're done. All right, boys. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. See you tomorrow.
All right, boys.
Don't forget, man. Stop holding back.